Welcome to EngloStories. Today, we have a fascinating short story for you that will help you improve your English while enjoying a captivating tale. We'll be exploring the story of an hour, written by Kate Chopin and first published in 1894. Kate Chopin was an American author known for writing stories about women's lives and experiences during the late 19th century. This remarkable story takes place over just 1 hour. Yet within this brief time, we witness a profound emotional journey. Our main character experiences a whirlwind of feelings that will surprise you. The story explores themes of freedom, marriage, and the unexpected ways life can change in an instant. While the story is short, it contains powerful emotions and an ending that you won't expect. So sit back, listen carefully, and let's dive into this classic tale that has fascinated readers for over a century. Now, let's begin the story. It was a gloomy spring afternoon in the 1890s. Mrs. Louise Mallard sat in her comfortable home, unaware that her life was about to change dramatically. Louise was a young woman with a fair, calm face and a gentle manner. However, she suffered from heart trouble, which made everyone around her extremely careful about how they shared any shocking news with her. On this particular day, her sister Josephine and Richards, a close friend of her husband Brentley, arrived at her home with troubling news. There had been a terrible railway accident. Brentley Mallard's name had appeared at the top of the list of those killed. Richards had confirmed the tragic news with a second telegram before rushing to Louise's home. Josephine knelt before her sister, took her hands, and in broken sentences and half-concealed phrases revealed the terrible news about Brentley. Richard stood nearby, holding Louise's other hand, ready to support her. The spacious sitting room was quiet, except for the sound of Louise's sudden, wild crying. Unlike many women who might have been stunned into disbelief, Louise immediately accepted the reality of her husband's death. Her sobs came quickly and uncontrollably as grief overwhelmed her. After the first wave of sorrow passed, Louise insisted on being alone. Despite concerns about her health, she made her way upstairs to her bedroom, ignoring her sister's pleas to let her help. Louise needed privacy as she began to process this unexpected turn in her life. When Louise entered her room, she did not lock the door as her sister had feared she might. Instead, she sank into a comfortable armchair facing the open window. It was springtime, and through the window she could see the tops of trees beginning to bud with new life. The air was fresh after a recent rain, and birds were singing in the distance. Louise sat motionless in the chair, occasionally sobbing like a child who cries until they're exhausted. Her gaze fixed on a patch of blue sky visible between the clouds. She was not thinking clearly yet. Her mind was too full of the shock she had just received. As she sat there, something began to stir within her. Louise felt it approaching, and she tried to push it away, but could not. It was a strange feeling she couldn't immediately identify. It crept out of the sky and reached toward her through the sounds, scents, and colors of the awakening spring day outside her window. Now, Louise began to recognize this feeling. Her chest rose and fell rapidly with her quickening breath. She was trying to resist this sensation, but it was impossible. Something was taking hold of her, something that felt forbidden yet irresistible. As this realization grew stronger, her body relaxed, and the tension in her fingers and face melted away. She did not stop to question what this feeling was or why it had come. She simply surrendered to it, whispering one word over and over under her breath, "Free, free, free." The empty stare in her eyes suddenly gave way to a look of excitement. Her pulse beat faster, and warm blood rushed through her body, relaxing every inch of her being. She realized with startling clarity what this feeling was. It was freedom. Brentley had never been cruel to her. He had always looked at her with love. She had loved him too, sometimes, but in this moment she recognized that love had not always been present, and now it didn't matter. "Free, body and soul free," she kept whispering. Louise began to think about the years ahead. Yesterday, she had shuddered at the thought of a long life. Now, she welcomed it with open arms. There would be no powerful will forcing her to bend to someone else's wishes. No more living according to others' expectations. Every day from now on would belong to her alone. She would cry again when she saw her husband's kind, dead face. But beyond that funeral day stretched a lifetime of freedom. Days and years that would belong entirely to her. The once frightening future now appeared bright with possibility, filled with springs, summers, and all seasons that would be hers alone to experience as she wished. Louise's face glowed with this new understanding. Her eyes remained fixed on that distant patch of blue sky as if she could see her future written there. In that moment, she was drinking in the very essence of life through the open window, the delicious breath of air, the distant songs of birds, the fresh scents of rain, and countless sounds. Someone was singing a familiar song in the distance. Countless sparrows were chirping in the eaves of nearby buildings. The blue sky peeked through scattered clouds. Louise sat perfectly still except for the slight movement of her hands, which rose and fell with each breath like those of a goddess of victory. She knew there would be tears when she saw her husband's dead body. His hands that had touched her with genuine affection would be folded in death. But beyond that painful moment awaited her future, a future that now belonged to her alone. "Louise! Louise! Open the door!" Josephine was kneeling outside her door, begging to be let in. "You'll make yourself sick. What are you doing in there? For heaven's sake, open the door!" "Go away. I am not making myself sick," Louise called back. She was far from illness. She was drinking in a powerful elixir of life through the open window. Her imagination was running wild with the thought of the days and years ahead that would belong to her absolutely. She spread her arms out to welcome the years to come. She spread her arms out to welcome the years to come, praying that life would be long. She knew that just yesterday she had thought with fear about living a long life. Now that fear was gone, replaced by joy. Spring had never looked so vibrant, so full of promise. She finally rose from her chair and opened the door to her sister's pleas. There was a triumphant look on Louise's face. Her eyes were bright, and she carried herself like someone who had won a great victory. She allowed Josephine to put an arm around her as they descended the stairs together. Richards stood waiting for them at the bottom of the staircase. The front door was beginning to open. Someone was entering the house using a key. It was Brentley Mallard, who stood in the doorway carrying his travel bag and umbrella. He had been far from the scene of the accident and hadn't even known there had been one. He looked tired from his journey, but otherwise perfectly healthy and alive. Josephine screamed in shock. Richards moved quickly, trying to place himself between Louise and the doorway to block her view. But he was too late. It was one of life's cruel ironies. Brentley Mallard, who was supposed to be dead, was very much alive and now standing in his own home, completely unaware of the accident. The telegram had been wrong. The reports had been mistaken. While the newspaper offices had been buzzing with updated lists of the killed and injured, Brentley Mallard had been traveling peacefully. He looked at his wife with a mixture of surprise and concern, not understanding the scene before him. Richards trying to shield someone, Josephine screaming, and his wife Louise staring at him. In that moment, the future that Louise had just imagined for herself, a future of freedom and self-determination, crumbled before her eyes. Louise Mallard collapsed where she stood. Everything happened so quickly that no one had time to catch her as she fell. The household erupted into chaos. Richards and Brentley rushed to her side while Josephine cried out for help. Servants were called, a doctor summoned, but it was too late. By the time medical help arrived, Louise Mallard was gone. The doctors who examined her declared that she had died of heart disease, of joy that kills. They believed that the shock of seeing her husband alive when she had thought him dead had been too much happiness for her weak heart to bear. Only Louise, in her final moments, knew the truth. It was not joy that had stopped her heart, but the sudden, crushing disappointment of seeing her newly imagined future of independence vanish. The story of an hour shows us how complex human emotions can be. On the surface, we might think Louise would be overjoyed to discover her husband is alive. However, the story reveals that relationships and freedom are complicated subjects. In the 1890s, women had few rights and were expected to live for their husbands. Louise's brief taste of independence made her realize what she truly wanted. The story teaches us that sometimes our private thoughts and feelings might surprise even ourselves. It encourages us to consider what freedom means to different people and how quickly life can change. Most importantly, it shows us that understanding others requires looking beneath the surface. Did you enjoy this story? If the story of an hour helped you learn new English words or think about interesting ideas, please like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about Louise's reaction? Was it surprising? Don't forget to subscribe to EngloStories as we upload a new story daily to help you improve your English. Follow us so you can look forward to our next video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow with another engaging story.